Oh boy. Oh boy. Sleeping babies are being watched, and my microphone keeps rising up by itself because it's possessed. Here we go. Miss microphone. Stay. No, stay. I don't know why today it's not wanting to stay where it's supposed to stay. You know? The stand is a nice arm. The arm, rather, is a nice arm, but it's held down by the weight of the microphone. And apparently this one isn't strong enough or isn't heavy enough. Hey there, magic monsters. How are you all doing? Welcome to the stream, Jason. Glad you were able to make it. Don't forget to give it a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up and a tell your family all about it. Oh man, what a week it's been. I've got the day off today, which is nice. But what a week it's been. And it's going to be a month, and it's going to be a year. And you remember back in the good days, back when we had like that pandemic and everything was like, good in the world? Yeah. Isn't that funny? How, I don't know if 2022 is on, worse in general for people than 2021 or 2020. But in many ways, it seems like, things are just weird these days, right? Just not what you'd expect. Anyways, I was just reading some stuff and it made me sad. But I'm also about to game dev and it made me happy. So, what a wonderful world. And here we go. So last night at 2 a.m, because I took a nap at 7:30 and didn't wake up until nearly midnight. So I ended up streaming for my European friends and one guy who was up later than me for some reason. And hey, where'd my chat thing go? There it is. And and I started working on enemy movement or states and enemy movement. And one of the first things I needed to do was I've got this spawner inspector script that I've made, and it's very nice. I like it a lot. If you see, as I select it, changes colors of things, and you can actually select, customize those colors so you can see the spawners here, but the spawn positions are all there. And then I'm adding these cubes here for zones, basically. There's going to be a home zone where it's like, oh, I need to go home, so this is my home zone. And then there's going to be other zones where the bad guy can potentially walk to. And so I need these to be colored too, because when I select a zone, I can select one right here, and then I can modify it, which is great, but it's hard to see, first of all. I mean, it's not that hard, but yeah, you can't at all see the other ones or the enemies that I'm working with. So I need to update the colors of this, and I can do that. It's not going to be difficult. If I go back to my parent, I already do that for these. I just need to do that for these. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I hope you are in the zone for some zone code. I couldn't make that rhyme properly. I tried. All right, the cone zone. No, there's no cones. That's a highway, a freeway, a expressway, a whatever you want to call it way, the freeway in California. I think they probably use it in other areas too, but the cone zone. Slow for the cone zone. I also have some coffee. Yeah. It's been cold this week. What the heck's up with that? I mean, depends on where you live, but where I live, it's supposed to be hot because it's the summertime, and I'm in a microclimate that's more hot than the rest of the San Francisco Bay Area. But I drove my mom to the airport yesterday. It was 55 degrees at the airport and cloudy and windy. I mean, that's San Francisco for you. But still, what the heck? Went to Costco and everyone was wearing jackets. At least I was smart enough to put on pants, but freezing over there. And it's cold enough over here. I've got socks and pants on right now. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, well, you're where it's warmer, Jason. Yeah, you are in canyons and deserts. There's no way that your area will ever be cold in the summer, right? If I'm not mistaken, you're in canyons. Yeah, I like summertime because I get pasty white in the winter, and then I get a decent tan in the summer. If I do it slowly enough. Otherwise, I get a decent burn. Burn! All right. So, zones. This is our zones. We need to add colors. So let's scroll up to our, not scroll up, but move over to our object spawner. Where is our colors? Colors. Color. There we go. So these are all hidden in the inspector. So when you're looking at the regular inspector, these don't, I'm not going to show these, but I need them to be colors. So we are going to do, copy these, and we'll do zone home on, zone home off, and zone on and zone off. So I think I'm going to end up customizing these a little bit, but this is probably, I mean, well, I don't know. These are, let me see. Cyan, and that's 1. Oh, okay, RG, okay. And then we're going to do a custom one here. So new color, 0.5, 0.5 F, 0.5 F. That way it's cyan, but just darker, essentially, and similar to how gray is darker from white. That way they'll be the same color, and if I don't change, nobody, as if somebody else was going to use this. Hi, Paolo, how are you? I'm going to assume that I'm not going to change these too often. And so I want them to be defaulted to something different. I agree with that. I'm reading a message. Yeah. All right, man. Crazy stuff. Okay. Okay, we got colors. Now we need to show them. So we got colors. They're multiplying. And so spawn points, I'm just going to copy the code here. We've got temp colors, and probably this. No, just this. Okay. Then we'll go to our zone, wherever it is. Zones. Okay, zones. Remove missing zones. We'll keep that. Start vertical box. Ooh, we got to keep that, so let me move that down here. All right, paste that in here. We got temp color. I'm going to change this to temp home, home zone, home off, temp zone home on, temp zone off, and temp zone on. This is probably the biggest feature I use in Rider, by the way. Whenever folks in like the game dev show talk about what do you do, what's Rider good for, I'm like, this is what it's good for. Just copying and just, yeah, refactoring and stuff like that. I'm sure I don't use it for all it's worth. And, this one didn't get updated. Interesting. Well, either way, this is going to be zone home off, zone, whoops, home on, zone off, zone on, and what we got here? Home, zones, and we will do, just copy these. And we gotta copy them here. Whoops. Yep. That way we can change the colors, and then if we are changing the colors, more copy pasting. If we change the color, then we're gonna update zone colors to the on colors. So home on and zone on. Okay, and then we'll find update colors, and we will make this. So color one is going to be home color and zone color, and okay. So for this one, no script we return, no game object return. Well, this is not, yeah, we're not doing it on the game object, so that's not going to be an issue. And that's not going to be an issue. And this is not going to be needed. So it's going to be for each zone, and let me do this right, zone in zones. If try get mesh render zone mesh renderer. First, we're going to make sure it's turned on for this. I'm going to need to do a code. Oh, hello, Dustin. How are you? And I said it, Dustin. I'm starting to remember to say hello, Magic Monsters, or something Magic Monsters. That's my tagline. See, for all of you who haven't noticed that, yeah, I created myself a tagline calling you Magic Monsters. I'm basically Lady Gaga, but with magic monsters. Andrew Gaga. That's what you can call me from now on. Andrew Gaga. Just like Lady Gaga. I really like saying Lady Gaga instead of Lady Gaga. I don't know why. I don't know why. All right, so we get the zone renderer. Make sure it's turned on. Zone mesh render.enabled equals true. It should be at this point because we're going to have to add a on enable and on disable thing to turn that on and off because we don't want it on all the time. And then we're going to, oh, you know what? I should make this 0.5, 0.2f. I need to make the alpha really low. So in all of these, I actually need to make these unique because I need to be able to see through these. Whoops, 0.5. So we'll make them, actually let's just make them even dimmer. I think they're gonna have to be really dim. I want to see them, but I don't want to have them block really any visual fidelity. All right, that was an aside. Now we got this. So we turn on the enabled shared color equals zone color, or if it could be a different color. So we're going to say if script.home zone equals zone, then home color, otherwise zone color. I think so. So actually, I'm going to change this a little bit because I want the zone colors to be on even if I don't have one of them selected. And the off color happens when I don't have one of them selected. On color happens when I do have one of them selected. So I need to find out if I've got a one selected. And I can actually, I don't need this at all. This is just going to be script.home home on and script.zone home off. But we need to know if we have one of these selected. So that's going to be the selection active, something like this. Zone color, update zone colors. Don't need those now. So let's see. If selection dot active object okay, how about this? If zone mesh render no script dot zones dot first or default x equals selection after object equals null, then yeah, here we go. Okay, we're gonna assume it's not selected, and we'll do var color 1 equals color home equals script dot zone home off, and var color zone equals script dot zone off, and then we're going to switch to this to not equal. So if we do have if our selected, this is the object selected in the editor, and if that one is inside our list here, then we will change color home to script.zone home on, and color zone equals script.zone on. And that way we can just pass in these instead, and there we go. So I can make this a little cleaner probably. I'm going to create a new thing up here, private bool zone is selected, and we're going to just return whether it's not null. So now I can say color home equals zone is selected question mark script dot zone home on or off, and copy and paste this here, and zone home zone on. There we go. And then I can get rid of this as well. All right, so that's a little skinnier to read, I think, right? Home color home is zone selected. I could cache this so it doesn't have to run this link thing twice, but it's not an issue. Hi, Merrick. I feel like I just saw you 7 hours ago. 7.5 hours ago. Welcome back. All right. So that should do the trick, and now we should see those happening. Let's make sure this happens on whenever we draw it. So let's just see what happens. We did a lot of coding there, and I didn't check any work in the middle. So it could be broken. It could just work. Okay. It's not doing anything. That's great. Got my colors. Apparently I didn't get the alpha here, so I'll just set. Whoa, there we go. That's something now. Something happened there. I think I put the drawing code in the wrong section or something. That's my guess. Okay. And apparently they're not getting the update here. So this is what I don't want to happen. So let's see where the heck is it going wrong. Where do I call the update? So I'm only updating the zone colors when I change that. So I also want to update the zone color on suppose on enable, really. Yeah, I do it up here, so we might as well do it here too. Update the zone colors. Okay, so we should do that there, and you know what? I should do this. Remove missing zones. Clean up missing zones. And I can then remove it from this. I don't need to put that there then. Remove missing zones. Show zone. Yes, I will include it there. Okay. Let's see if this does any tricks. It didn't seem to do the alpha. And is that because, it could be because this is not a alpha enabled material. Which is such a shame. Let's see. Is there a default alpha enabled material? Because right now these are all the default material, and I think that's the issue here. This is a default material. This is probably not alpha enabled. Yeah, it's opaque. So maybe I can change the rendering mode on each of these two. Let's see if that works. Update zone colors. we will say, so zone mesh renderer dot rendering mode. Well, let's go to Google. Hello, Google. Unity 3D mesh rendering mode. Let's see what we get. Well, this is not what I wanted. Is it blend mode? Oh. I wanted the code example, but this might have something. Or not. Manual. Scripting. Material. Blend. Nope. Mesh render. Manual scripting. API. Blend. Nope, that doesn't seem to work. Rendering mode, nothing. Layer mask, motion generator, force rendering off. Well, geez. Change default rendering mode to transparent or fade. Fade is what I think. This might be appropriate. Oh yeah. What kind of work are you doing? Clearly you're not doing work where you're also coding, because you can't. I mean, maybe you can, but you can't actively listen while doing other stuff like that. I know the bull used to listen while he was doing his. He had a night job, but now he's got a coding job actually, which is great. But he used to listen at night when he was doing work. How to change different try this answer. Okay. Eventually. We'll try it eventually. It's just being slow. All right. Necro this answer. Just clarifying. Standard shader. Utilities. Whoa, what the heck? Helper class. Wow. Material. Blend mode. Okay. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Wow. All right, I might just copy this. All right, let's see if this does a trick. Standard shader utils. Why not utilities? We'll put that in our scripts. Statics. Let's just try that. That should be help and create. C# standard shader utils. Change this to utility. All right. We're going to go standard shader utility dot change render mode. We need to pass in our material, which is going to be zone mesh render dot material, or shared material probably, maybe. And then blend mode is going to be fade. Okay. Let's see if that does it. Ah, you did. Thanks, Merrick. That was these equations. It throws me for a loop, you know, and I know it's because I didn't pay attention in high school. Oh, that's nice. My mom just had a wonderful Italian dinner with her brother, my uncle, in Frankfurt, Germany. Neither of them slept well on the plane. Well, that makes sense. They're pretty old. All right. And oh, okay. Well, it did something. Oh yeah, look, I think it's working. I think it's just too much. Is it working? Oh yeah, okay. It seems to be working. So I think 10 was probably too much. I think maybe 20%. Maybe I had it right the first time. So 50. That seems like you can see it, but it's not gonna block out the view. So I think we'll go with that on my defaults here. Okay, and then that's a shame that happens. I'm not sure why we'll have to solve for that. And then we need to still update the whole, like, when this is selected, it needs to tell the parent that it needs to draw stuff. Okay, that's fine. On disable. Okay, enable. Oh, wrong script. On enable. We're going to update zone colors and so we're going to change on disable here to be. I think on enable is fine, but then we're going to say turn off zones, and private void turn off zones is just going to go through each zone for var zone in script.zones zone dot. Why is this not working? For each zone dot get component component mesh render dot enabled equals false. Now I could do this via link, I think, right? Script.zones. Can you do this via link? I'm sure you can. All. No. It doesn't matter. It's only a line. All right. Turn off zones. And I don't think we need to turn on zones because update zone colors will do that for us. Okay. And then let's just make sure that works. Huh. You should get the treant to ride the dragon. Someday I need to redo the dragon. We'll see if we can redo it and make it work with the Malber's animation dragon animations. Our dragon, in many cases, it, depending on your style and aesthetic of the game, looks better than that one. It really depends on the aesthetic. Malber's stuff looks amazing. But they've got these animations that just don't quit. Those animations go all the way up, if you know what I mean. If we're living in the 80s, and you know what I mean. There we go. Okay, so that's good, except we still want it on if any of these are selected. So what happens when we select one of these? Nothing. Doesn't this should have change of color? This is for runtime use to make sure that it turns off at runtime. But for object spawn point editor. This is where we do the magic. On enable. So we're gonna have to copy over a fair amount of this to zone editor. So zone editor, we got script, we got on enable. We got the target. Okay, we got our little clicky button. What else do we need? We need align colors. In align colors, we get the parent object spawner, and we make sure our colors match. All right, we should do that here. We should do that here for sure. Actually, we don't. This one's not keeping track of its own colors. I don't think we need to do that, actually. Update colors. We do need to update colors, but to do the update colors, what do we need to do? For this one, it's saying the parent will be changed. So really, what I need to do is update colors, but updating colors here, updating colors here is really going to be gain the parent. Object, right, and telling script transform parent blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna say private, what is that called? That is called object spawner, parent spawner equals dot get component object spawner. Okay, and then update. Well, this is interesting actually. Object spawner. Where do we do the? We do this on the editor. Do we not? Color. Huh. Wait a minute. So let me figure this out. How is this one updating the colors? Not that one. How is this one updating the colors? So this is telling the parent specifically what color it should be, and then telling the children what color it should be too. So I think I need to move this to the parent. Yeah, so I'm going to say script.transform form.parent.get component.gameObject.get component. It was object spawner, and we're going to say update colors, and I'm going to copy this, and then I'm also going to zombie code it for a bit, and then we're going to create this method here, and this method is going to be updating all the colors, not just the spawn points. Okay, so this is going to be this game object, and this is going to be not color 1, but we're just gonna, we know the colors, we already have the colors, so this is going to be color 1. Yeah, okay, we're going to say if selection dot game object, active game object equals, equals game object, then color 1 on, otherwise color 1 off. Okay. So if the selection is the active game object, and we'll color 1 off. Okay. Then for each, let me just write myself some helper notes here. main object, and then we're going to do the spawn points, and we'll move this up. So for each spawn point in spawn points, easier, mesh renderer color equals well, our spawn point color is going to be equal to color 2 off, but if that, then spawn point color equals color 2 on, meaning it's been selected, and if selection spawn points dot first or default x dot x equals selection, then if that does not equal to null, then spawn point color equals color 2 on. And we can make this an else for that, just because I think it's going to happen every frame. I guess it was just a little bit more efficient. It's an editor script, so it probably doesn't really matter in the end. Yeah, see, the horse, I talked to Malbers. He's a nice person, and I talked to him, and he did give me permission to actively copy the rig of his horse to work with my horse. So our horse doesn't actually contain any animations yet, because it's been on the back burner, considering that it works with all of his animations, and it works with his mount controller. And the important bit there is if I can get the dragon to work with his animations, it would also work with his mount controller. We also have a demon dog that we're working on, which will hopefully work with his dog type wolf thing as well. So we'll see how that goes. I think more publishers need to be working together to making their stuff just more valuable like that, you know. It just makes sense. All right, so we'll make the spawn points into the spawn point color. So this is basically updating all colors. So the main object, spawn points, and then zones. So similar to this, I suppose we can do zone home color and zone color. Oh, we already have those. Do we have this? No. Okay, good. And this is going to be zone home off and zone off by default, but we're going to copy this off here. This is if here, if first or default zones. So if one of the zones is selected, then that is going to be zone home on and zone color equals zone on. Okay, I know I'm doing two different methods and the two different scripts for doing the colors, but okay, and then we need to set those for each var spawn zone in zones. We're going to say zone dot get component mesh renderer dot shared material dot color equals and home zone equals zone question mark. If so, then zone home color, otherwise zone color. All right. So update each of those. That Should do the trick. Now this is only called right now from the spawn points, so I need to call this as well from the excuse me, sorry, from this editor as well. Update colors. So let's see if that does the trick. This is slightly different, the way the spots here, these little cylinders, are colored versus the rest. All right, it doesn't. Okay, so that part worked, and that's what we want to see. We want to see this gray when one of these is selected, and when one of these is selected, it needs to be blue. So it doesn't appear to be working as it should. Let's just do a debug log here and see if it's actually being called. Debug.log. Update colors on child selection. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't remember math from high school. I'm just at a disadvantage because I also didn't learn much from high school because I was at the time zoned out, or really focused on other things. All right, why isn't it working then? Well, it seems to be working on the. Let's see. It seems to be working on these colors. Well, it's not working on the parent, actually. The parent is supposed to be that color. So that's a thing. And let's print out this as well. The name of the selected object, just to make sure that that's doing its job. Yep, it seems to be knowing what object is selected. Okay. Huh. And this one gets it twice. Why does this one get it twice? Object spawner. So this is called from here. Oh, interesting. The on disable. Object spawn point. Update colors. Oh. So I think yeah, that's probably fine. Probably fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll have to add that code. Actually, let's just do it now to the zone editor as well. We don't need to pass in anything. It just needs to say if we deselect to update colors. So why isn't the rest working? Or first of all, why isn't this working? Maybe we don't need the game object. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up and a like and a subscribe. I think a thumbs up is a like though. So don't do it twice because I'll cancel out the first one. So thumbs up and a subscribe. All right. All right, this doesn't seem to be being called at all. I wonder if I have conflicting things here. Because really, I should make this the go-to for all updating colors, right? Because there's just a single source of everything, right? Pink unicorn. Oh, the icons, yes. I need to remember to change those. Color. Okay, so updating zone colors there. We've changed background color, color. Home zone. This is the show zone. Home zone selection button. Those are buttons. That's fine. Add new zone. Okay. Oh gosh. Updating colors here just does that. Updating colors here just does that. All right, so I don't think there's any conflict there, but I'm getting the wrong color. That's supposed to be bright orange, but it's not. Yep. All right, why isn't it working? Debug.log. Main color is that color, and now it's that color. Sorry, didn't mute in time. All right, I almost pressed play. It's not changing the color. It doesn't seem to be changing the color at all. Unless on is that and off is color 1 off. Let's just make sure that these colors are actually set properly. If they're not, then that's the problem. On is that, off is that. So interesting. Oh. Okay, I see. So, yeah, this changed, didn't it? It was earlier, this was orange, but just darker. Was it? No, it wasn't. I don't even know now. Oh, I see what I'm doing. It's my fault. Yeah, so we're not looking to see if this specific one is on. That's not what we yes, if that's selected, we want that, but also Yeah, okay, okay. Let me make a little, whoops, property here. Private void child point select is selected, and this is just going to be this bit of code here. That. Spawn points. Oh, bool. That's what. All right. So I can change this to if child point is selected, and then here we will say, I'll do another one, private bool parent point is selected. So we can say if parent point is selected, or, whoops, wrong button, or child point is selected, then we do that. Okay. So I was just checking for the parent, so of course the parent wasn't selected. So now we'll do that. So if either one is selected, then we do on or off. And we also need then, similar to this one, we need a zone is selected. And so zones first are default. And so really, or zone is selected. So if anything is selected there, then we'll change the main one to be on or off. And for the spawn points, similar, if yeah. So we can probably, let's see. So we're going to say spawn point color, our spawn point color equals, if any of those are, then color 2 on, otherwise color 2 off. Okay, so that should solve for the spawn point colors. Is it supposed to be this down there? I guess maybe it's supposed to be that. I don't know. What's the general gist? To put the equal up here or equal down there? I don't know. Okay, spawn point color should now be on if any of them are selected, off if none of them are selected. Okay. And then finally, the home color, with zone color, is going to be similar. If any of them are selected, then it's going to be home on, otherwise it's going to be home off. All right, let's see if that works. Sorry that took so long to figure out. I think I lost like half the viewers during that. All right, so, ooh, gosh, that's not supposed to be that. I don't know why that turned that color. So we also need the enabled here. And var enable zones equals false and equals true. So for each zone, zone.getComponent.meshRenderer .enabled equals enabled equals enable zones. All right. I'm not sure why that other object changed color though. Okay. Oh, we don't have the fancy other bit, right? The what was it called? Utility. Where was that? this one. Now that we're doing 3 uses of it. We'll cache it. Okay. Okay, so it doesn't... Oh yeah, because off, then it's disabled. Oh, okay. So yeah, I need to change the logic a little bit, but it's doing its thing. But I want only when one of these are selected. So, so this is really going to be if zone is selected. So if any of them are selected, then we will do enable zones equals true, and then if not zone is selected, then return. Otherwise, we'll do those 2. There we go. So that should turn these gray when one of these is selected, but not a zone is selected. And it didn't do it. Whoa. Now, what's it doing now? This is All right. Well, it's not doing gray. Unless it is and I just can't see it. Doesn't appear to be. All right, let's look at the code again. What zone is selected? This is going to be first or default if any of the zones are selected. Okay. Hi, Jason Storey. Welcome to the stream again. I know. Well, this is what happens when I got days off. I want to stream, you know. I find it helpful for the most part, and hopefully people. I mean, the fact is, people seem to enjoy it, and you know, more power to you. I think that's great. I love having you here. I love having people around that, you know, I can read when you say stuff, but I'm not listening to you. You know what I mean? Like, because I can't, if I'm at the coffee shop working, I got my headphones on and I've got like rainymood.com on or like Skyrim soundtracks that are kind of like ambiance. I can't listen to things while coding. That's why when I am talking direct like this, I tend to be looking at my laptop on the side with the chat and not actually looking at the stuff I'm doing here. All right, why isn't this working again? And then when I'm doing this, I'm actually looking at the thing, but not. Kind of mostly just talking to myself. To you, but to myself too. We got mesh render. Debug.log will say something is selected, zones, and then zone is selected. Okay, I just want to make sure that this is calling those lines of code. All right, something is selected, so they should be turned on, but all And then zone is selected. So that part seems to be working appropriately. But then this part doesn't seem to be updating those at all. So that's interesting, right? Because what do I have down here? Am I blocking it? For each zone in zones, mesh renderer equals get the zone mesh renderer. Change the mode of the material. All right, let's just double check debug.log. It's going to be a lot of spammy stuff here, but zone.name will be enabled. Enable zones and color. Yeah, that's enabled. Let's just see if that spits out the right thing. I don't like how it always reverts to this, but we'll see about that. All right, look at that. It doesn't seem to be doing anything unless I select that. Why? Why? Oh, ha. This is not a return. That's why. All right. That's why. I was returning. I was like feeling like I was in a loop or something, but I wasn't. Okay. So now let's get these back to the right opacity. There we go. So now you can see them, but they're very light. Maybe I'll change that. The home one isn't apparently updating correctly. So if home zone equals zone, yeah, it doesn't appear to be working. And this, I think these grays aren't gonna fly. Let's try yellow just to see. That's too bright then. What about this? Okay, that's a little bit better. But in this case, maybe they need to be more faded. Yeah. Oh. Well, this is where these buttons come in handy, I guess. Still pretty out there. All right, that's a little, we'll go with that for now. I don't know why that isn't working though. Let's see. Is the home zone set? It is. Excuse me. Need to get this mute button closer to my finger and remember to use it. Why isn't that working? Home zone is a game object. So we really don't need that. These zones are game objects. Make sure I'm saying these right. Zone home on, zone home off. Well, they should be being set properly. Don't take a 5-hour nap, Merrick, or a 4-hour nap. Don't make the same mistake I did. But otherwise, more power to you. Naps are great. Why did I press play? I didn't need to press play. All right. Zone is cube. Home zone. Match is true. So it should be giving this home color is that, and zone color is zone color. Just confirm this part is working as expected. Look at those bright colors. Those are two different colors. Right? Right. All right, so they are two different colors, but it doesn't seem to be working. That is weird. All right. Let's try a different way. Mesh renderer. Uh-oh, my microphone's moving up. Stop that. It's magical. It does it by itself, and it's annoying in a magical way. Shared material. Nope. Dot color equals zone home color. Yeah. Oops. If else zone color. This is taking longer than I thought it would. No, What the hell? It should be working, right? Color. Whoops. Color is now mesh render dot shared material dot color. Off color, and we'll say on color or home. All right, let's see if this spits out stuff we can understand. All right, so it must be changing it somewhere else. Let's see. Maybe it's changing it here. No. No. Spawn point. Nope. So these are the only ones there. Update colors. I don't think we need to put any update colors on any other bits. Okay. Now there should be no other place that it changes color. And yet, the color appears to be changing, but does not actually get changed. So my thinking is that it's changed somewhere else. But I don't know where. This just calls this section, which is exactly where we want it to call. I don't know. I just don't understand it. It seems to be changing the color, but then the color gets changed again. Let's see. I guess that could be why. But even then, it's changing it to the right colors. Or was it? Off color should not have been gray. Where is this being called? only 2 places. I'm going to make it not called anywhere but one place. And that place, now it's not being called at all. I think I just have, there must be somewhere else that's changing the color and I just don't know where. That's my only thinking. Okay. Okay, so I want, it's interesting that it turned off, by the way. Enabled. Turn off zones. Okay. Now there should be nothing that changes any color anywhere. Good. So no colors are changing. That's a good thing. Now we will call update color. Whoa, what just happened? That was weird. Update colors. We will call this on enable. We're going to do script.update colors. So only when this is enabled will we update colors. Okay. These colors should be different, but they appear to be the exact same. What the hell is going on? Zone does nothing. Change this to purple. They both change to purple, but they should not change to purple. One should not be purple. This one should not be purple. My lord, what the hell? Oh, it's probably a silly, silly thing, of course. Is it because I'm using shared materials? Maybe that's it. I mean, the word shared does imply that it's shared among multiple things. So material. is why it says I most likely want to use shared material. That's why I use shared material. But it did the trick. So I wonder why that happens, but it doesn't happen here, because on these ones I use shared material to update their colors, and I get different colors, right? That's interesting. The main object has a shared material. This has a shared material. These two have shared materials, but they're all different objects. All right. How about this? Continue. So if it's the home zone, we'll continue. Wait, this is interesting. Oh, because we don't need the else if we're continuing. I see. So it's suggesting that this is not going to work. Need property blocks. Property brothers. Well, this time it does seem to work. That's really odd. It's perhaps, I would say, unexpected behavior. But for some reason, if this holds true, then for whatever reason, making this an if-else was causing it to do its thing. As if like it was doing both of these. I'm not sure how shared materials work, I guess. That's probably, it's true. I don't know how shared materials work. But, yeah. Okay. So now I can call update colors more often. Now we can try that. So put this back to just update colors and script.update colors. We don't need these. I'm going to get some errors down here. And I guess up here. I still don't know why that is. I guess that's part of the shared materials issue. That's interesting. Okay. Update colors. Huh. Oh, okay. I see. Yep. All right. So I need to do the same for the children now, which I did before. But now we'll do it again. This is on enable, on disable. And we'll do the same to zone editor. All right, so now it should just work magically, wonderfully, and all that stuff. There we go. Okay, that should work. And now I'm able to select my zones, say this one, and bring it up and make my modifications on it. And now the whole point of this, the whole point was that I can see where the borders are of the various zones and then adjust them accordingly. So that then I can make a new zone by selecting the parent, make a new zone, select that zone, bring it over. There we go. All right, so now we've got some zones. I'm going to make one more zone. Select my parent, create a new zone, select that zone, make this zone go up here. Make it taller. All right. Let's see if this does what I want it to do now. All right, so now this is basically telling me that these enemies, or this will spawn an enemy or multiple enemies. It can spawn multiple enemies, and it will spawn them with the spawner. It will spawn them in those spots. The enemies will be able to traverse any of these areas in their idle. They'll just choose a random spot and walk there. But if they go outside of their zone and they want to go home, they're going to come back to this home zone. So they'll chase the player for a while, and as long as they can see the player, they'll keep chasing them. And maybe I'll have like a distance from home is too far type of thing that they'll run away. They'll go back and retreat. Yeah, and then they'll go back home. All right, let's see if that works now. Let me turn off these. So the issue was essentially I don't understand shared materials. Yeah, and it was changing them. Oh, I should probably make this. I guess it doesn't really matter because if they're not selected, then they turn off. Let me see what happens if I make a change here, save it. Do they, if they're not selected, do they turn on? No, okay, that's fine then. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, interesting. This one doesn't have any zones yet. And what if I wanted to copy the zones? Interesting question. What happens if I want to copy the I could, whoops, I could copy the zone. I do a copy paste. I think I'm not going to do that right now. Think about that and maybe do that another time. Keep this home zone pretty small, and we'll do a new zone and bring this out. I can't see them. Huh. All right, maybe I do want to copy. I don't know. I kind of want to copy and paste these colors. Anyways, this is fine for now. Those ones will just have a much smaller zone to go into, and that's fine. And all right, so let's get to the actual enemy movement and stuff. So we had on our stuff an actor patrol and actor actions. So we want to work on the patrol, and then okay. So if we're not patrolling, then we return. And if we do, so there's going to be next decision. So this is going to be private float next decision. And this is where we'll default it to 3F, 3 seconds, and I'm going to serialize this as well, so that's going to be saved. Make, oh, I guess make it -1. Make a decision. Private void make a decision. And then if we're going to need to use static Infinity PBR Legend of the Stone game. And we'll make a property for the time. Private float, I think. Game time equals game.data.gametime.now. Include sometime, yes. So now, we'll just call it now. So if next decision is less than now. So if next decision is greater than now, then we return. Yeah, let me do that. If next decision is greater than now, then we'll return. In other words, this means we can't make a decision yet. Our next decision happens later. But it starts off with -1, so that means it will happen right away. So what happens when we make a decision? We're in patrol mode. So in patrol mode, we're just going to choose, well, we're going to choose whether we idle or not. And so let's do that. Let's do an idle chance. Private serialized field private float idle chance equals, we'll say there's a 50% chance that they're just going to choose to idle for a little bit. And serialized field private float idle time min equals, say, 2 seconds, and they can choose to idle up to 8 seconds. Alright, so we're going to say if choose to idle, then we'll return. And what is choose to idle? If legend utilities dot random from 1 is less than idle chance, or if the random is greater than idle chance, then return false, meaning we did not return false, meaning we did not choose to idle. But if we do choose to idle, then we are going to say next decision is equal to now plus random random.range idle time min to idle time max, and then so we're just saying the next decision to be a random time longer, and we're going to also set them to be idle. So this is going to be actor dot animator. I guess we can find the animator. Private animator dot equals get component animator. Okay, so then we'll say animator dot set trigger actor dot animation somewhere there. I see, we're doing it wrong. Private actor equals get component actor. All right. Actor dot trigger. Somewhere there's a triggers. Let me just player dot trigger animation. Actor dot player dot animation trigger strings dot idle. We need to add an idle to this. Whoa. Block. Here we are. All right. And return true. Okay, so this should set our decision to the next decision time, and then choose to, or set the trigger to idle, meaning it'll just go into idle mode. But that's not actually, that actually is not what we want. That's incorrect. We don't actually want idle. In my animation things, I don't use idle as a. We can actually look at it. I don't use idle as a trigger. Rather, I use locomotion, and I use, well, previously I used 0, meaning idle. My newest ones are 0 through 1 and idle somewhere in the middle, depending on how many locomotion animations you have, but probably 0.5. In this case, it is 0. So what we really need to, I suppose, in our trigger strings, rename this actor triggers and floats. Yes, do all that. And then we're going to call this public float idle, and we'll make it 0.5. By default, I am going to change it for the, and then public string locomotion equals locomotion. And I'll just change these. Okay, so this is going to be float strings, float values, and trigger strings. Okay. So we're not triggering animation here. What we're actually going to do is private float desired locomotion speed equals all right, well, we'll have to set this on is this gonna be serialized too? Maybe, because I want to save it, I suppose, so that when the game starts again, they have the same desired locomotion speed. And we'll make it -1, and we will say if desired locomotion speed equals -1, or is less than 0. Then we will say desired locomotion speed equals actor.player. Animation floats dot idle. Yeah, so we'll make that into the idle speed. If we don't have it set, it will be idle. That way, if it's already set to walking or something, it should keep that value. Okay. Keep that in a single line there for myself. Or maybe we'll just do, oops, maybe we'll just do that. All right. And then here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set desired locomotion speed to idle. And I'll do that here. And then down here, private void set desired locomotion speed, and float new speed, And then we will do actor.player.set float over animation. Locomotion. We don't have that. Okay, animator dot set float. It's going to be actor dot player locomotion to desired new speed. Actually, that's not true. That's not what we need. Desired locomotion speed equals new speed. Okay. So that's all we're really doing. That's all we're doing there. Scam likely. Okay. Okay, so what we're doing is saying our desired speed, but that doesn't actually change our speed because we don't want to change our speed like that. We want to change our speed over a time period. So what we'll do here is another serialized field, private float speed change equals 1f. We'll just keep it there for now. Oh, you're back. That was a very quick nap. Or I've been doing this for too long. I should zoom in. I knew you were going to say that. And so when we enter state, when we enter state, should we just make a decision? Yeah. When we enter, force a decision to be made. Okay. Okay, so all we're doing is choosing a new speed. But we need now the movement. I know the feeling. All right. So now we're also going to handle movement. But we're going to do this regardless of doing that. So handle locomotion. And to handle locomotion, we're going to do private void handle locomotion. Do the locomotion with the goblin. And we will say that we need some properties for this. Private current or float current locomotion speed equals private animator equals actor dot I see. Animator animator is actor dot player dot animator. So animator dot dot get float, and this is going to be our locomotion name, and another string, and we'll do another one for this, private string locomotion string is actor.player. Animation triggers and floats dot locomotion string okay. So that's our current locomotion speed, and if that equals our desired locomotion speed, then we'll return. Otherwise, we will say new speed equals current speed, or move towards current speed, desired speed. Max delta is going to be time.delta, time times speed change. And then set locomotion speed to new speed. And private void set locomotion speed float new speed is going to be animator.set float locomotion, what was it called? Locomotion string new speed with a lowercase p. Okay, so that should set our locomotion speed appropriately. And I would move towards it, I think, without going over. And that should be good. That happens regardless of whether we're making a decision. So it should happen outside of all the other stuff. And there we go. Let's just see if there's any errors. Press play. See what we get. All right, that's right. We need to change the correct. So I've got two options really. I can change it on my actor here, or player, locomotion, triggers and floats. So I can change it here, or I can change it in my animator. I'm going to change it here. I'm not going to change the animator because if I were to get an update from the asset store on this character, this would revert back and I'd have to change it anyways. And so for here, idle is also 0. So that's why I'm going to change it on the script, which is something I can control, even though I also control this character. But, you know, that's not neither here nor there. All right. There's a lot of errors. Ooh. So this is actually going to be slightly different. I need to ensure that if not game, then we return Well, actually, let me do it a different way. Where do we use now? Actually, yeah, even better than that. If not game, return. So this basically says if game hasn't been assigned yet, return. And I actually need to do this differently. Well, so we also have the game states, and they're not going to be making decision stuff in a different game state. We'll have to handle that after we get them moving. Just what happens, like when we go into the pause state, they need to stop moving, or rather just freeze where they are, even though the game continues to run. Now why are we getting this? We're still getting this here? Well, we can do a couple things. If game state dot game state equals dot state, what do we call it? Dot none turn why is this? Oh, I see. Active state. There we go. That's what I meant. All right. So if it's in none, or if it's in preloading, or if it's in loading, or if it's in so we do need to do stuff. Well, yeah, we'll have to fix this later because there is a stuff that will have to happen when it enters these states, I suppose. But we'll have to handle that. Basically, we're just going to say don't do any changes during that for now, but later we are going to have to say if you're in any of these states, you're going to have to pause what you're doing. Otherwise, you can resume what you're doing. So we'll have to figure that out later. But for now, we'll just handle the game states, and then also if there's no game yet assigned, then we'll return. With the game states the way they are, that shouldn't happen, I don't think. But who knows? And we still have the issue. Okay, well that's too bad. Why? Maybe we don't have game data. If not game.data.return or game time. honestly, these should these should be there. And these shouldn't even be looking for that until we get to a different game state. See, nothing should happen on those until they get to game on. So the fact that these are happening here is not clear to me why it's happening. And, you know, it's interesting. It doesn't seem like it's being called from anything, so maybe it's just... Okay. All right. That's another issue to fix, I suppose. All right, they seem to be doing their thing. Currently, the only decision they can make, I suppose, is... oh, they've got another next decision. That's cool. Oh, okay. This appears to be working because they're making next decisions. Now, if they don't choose to idle, nothing else happens. So we need to do that. Is choose to move. We'll have to add a thing for idle break at some point. Idle break. That's what I was just thinking about, because we'll need an idle break from time to time, but we'll do that later. Choose to move. What does that mean? Well, public, private, bool, choose to move. If they don't choose to idle, then they're going to choose to move by default. So what we're really going to do is set new movement, and we'll make that instead. And then in set new movement, we're going to choose a new spot and set speed. So we'll say set desired locomotion speed is going to be movement speed, and movement speed is going to be a serialized field private float movement speed equals 1. This is again going to be the look. Oh yes, so that's not going to be here. It's going to be on here. We're going to have two of these. We're going to have walk and run And while we're at it, walk backward. And these are going to be set to 0 by default, and 1 by default, and 1 by default. They will have to be changed per character. And private float idle speed equals that. Walk speed equals walk. Alright. Then we can change this to just be idle speed. And set desired to walk speed. And choose a new spot. We'll do that. But before we do that, let's just see if these randomly start moving. And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go to the bathroom. All right, back. After the stream, Eric says he suggests watching some tutorial about State Machine. Yes, I think it probably is. I think I'm coding a sort of a state machine in a way, but not using necessarily the same techniques that others use. Right. Oh yeah, so I was just going to see if they all move around randomly. Now, there's a 50% chance, technically, that they would choose to move around. Nothing's moving. So apparently none of them are deciding to move, which doesn't make sense. That shouldn't happen. So debug.log, choosing to idle like a lazy goblin. And debug.log will walk. All right. I just want to see that everything's saying Jason Wyman. Who's that guy? All right, so some of them will walk, but they apparently... Let me see my goblins. Will any of them have a desired locomotion speed that isn't 0? Oh, you know what? You know why? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I didn't change the default values. That's why. For this one, currently, where are they? Here we are. The walk is idle is 0. Walk backward is -1. Oh, well, this should work then. Unless it just didn't apply to everything. Well, I am meant to do one class for each. So this is for patrol class. There's going to be the alert, the runaway. So depending on the state of the actor, it should change. All right, so there's a bunch saying that they are going to walk, but they don't appear to be changing their desired speed. So, okay. If they have that changing, then they will move. So it definitely appears to be like this isn't happening. Walk to speed. New speed. So that should be going. Let's just make sure that that's being called properly. Yes, I think I hope I'm doing it that way, Merrick. The actor actions is supposed to be the one class to handle this changing between states, and then the patrol is just the players not in sight state, essentially. All right, so this apparently is meant to set it to 1, but isn't saying it to 1. So let's find out why by doing this. Debug.log set desired speed to new speed. Speed is now desired locomotion speed. Oh, I shouldn't have stopped. Maybe it's because I didn't do... Oh, yes, I see. It's instantly making a decision to idle. That's what it's doing. So I need to set the decision to be longer, and we need that. So there we go. So we will do walk time min and walk time max. So a minimum of 5 seconds of walking, a maximum of 15 seconds of walking. Yeah. And next decision, so walk time min to walk time max. Yeah. I think it was basically saying this right speed, but then it was immediately making another decision, which 50% of the time would be idle. So there was only a frame or two where it was actually walking. There we go. There we go. They're walking. They're still dumb, but they're walking. But it's weird that only half of them are walking. The other half aren't starting to walk. And it doesn't look like anyone's... Oh, okay, they are starting to walk there. No one's stopping, though. Oh, this one stopped. All right, just as I said it. Okay, that's fine. So now they need to choose a new spot that they're going to walk towards. At some point, I'm going to have to use, I think, the nav mesh. Nav mesh always confuses me a little bit. Just a heads up there. But yeah. I'm going to shorten this to 10 seconds. Do on this one. This is my go-to prefab in the scene. All right, and then all right, so these ones don't have a parent spawner. The rest do, and I need to make sure that when we spawn, that we set the parent spawner, and for that we need our actor and spawn. Okay, I don't think we need this anymore. But we do need a public object spawner. And when we spawn it, instantiate object to spawn. Add that. And then if we are an actor, then we'll do something. So if new world object dot try get component out actor, then actor dot object spawner equals this. Okay, and then on our patrol, we will say on awake, or whoops, we'll do on start, if no, or if actor dot object spawner equals null, then destroy game object. And so this is basically saying if we don't have an object spawner, nothing will work, so destroy. And that's because I want these in the scene right now so I can edit it more easily, but they have no parent object spawner, and that means that there's a lot of functionality that they're going to be missing that's required, like choosing a new spot within the zones. Essentially, there should never be an enemy in the scene like this by itself. So these should disappear, and the other one should stay appeared on start. There we go. Perfect. That works. All right, so now they need to choose a new spot. And to do that, they are going to choose a zone and then choose a spot within that zone. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that again. I know there's a way. I've done it before. But set new movement. Next. Okay, so we need a desired position. Serialized field, private vector 3. Walk to position, and so set new movement, choose a walk to position, and this is going to first find a zone. So we're going to go to the actor dot object spawner dot zones. So var random zone equals random dot range actor dot object dot zones dot count, and it's going to be between 0 and that. So we get a random zone and then find a spot in that zone. Now how do we do that? We have the zone, we have the bounds, we need a spot within that zone. Unity 3D, find position inside cube. It's not collider really. Probably like within bounds. Inside bounds. It's going to be mesh bounds, I think. Oh, renderer bounds the same, but in world space. So I guess it's probably renderer bounds. You know, I could do it another way, actually. So there's two ways I'm thinking of doing this. You know, when we have this one's a pretty large one. So if I do it by say, hey, first find a random one of these, you know, and then choose a spot, it could be over here, and it could say, okay, I want to go now all the way over here. And if this were skinny, like a hallway, then it might say, okay, I want to go over there, and I'm going to go through the hallway. And the other option is to say, hey, give me a spot that is, you know, 15 meters away in any direction, and then say, is this inside that one of these zones? And if so, go to it. Otherwise, choose a different spot that's within 15 meters. But the problem with that is if this were a skinny hallway, then it would not often get to the other room because it would rarely choose a spot within that hallway. So it would have to be, the spot that I would choose would have to be far enough away to get through the hallway. So if it's a long hallway, then it probably wouldn't really work. So I'm thinking I want to get a spot within the bounds, a position within those bounds, and then match the position to the terrain. So if the position's like, down here or up there, then it will get the position on the terrain, check to see that it can be navigated to, and then do that. I think that's what I want to do. So we have to get a spot within the bounds. What's bounds extents? Bounds. The extents of the bounding list is always half the size of the bounds. Okay, so if I start with the center of the bounds, we'll say var center of bounds equals random zone dot bounds dot render dot get component dot mesh render dot bounds, and then dot center, and then var extent x equals dot extent x. So I guess random vector 3 is going to be new vector 3 random. Can we do a random dot range between vector 3s? Nope. Okay. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I really don't care about the Y position at this point, I think. Yeah, I don't really care about the Y position at this point. So I'm going to say extents dot let's say distance dot x, distance x equals dot extents dot x, and distance y, or z rather, z equals extents dot z, and then new position is equal to center of bounds, and new position dot x plus equals random dot range negative distance x to distance x, and z equals just negative z to z. So that should give us, I think, some position within that area. and then desired walk. What was my walk to position equals new position. Now, of course, it's going to be somewhere in the sky or the ground, but I think what we can always change this based on the player's position or the enemy's position. So we can say new position dot y equals actor dot transform dot position dot y. So it starts out at the same level, and as they move, we can move that down, I think. So let's just see, and then we need to look at the position. So right now I'm going to make it just to look at that position, but we need to do a smooth look at. But for now, we will say set the speed and actor.transform.look at walk position. So they should just snap to that position. Excellent. I read your comment, Merrick, and I was like, I wonder how far back he is on the stream. How much delay is the stream right now? All right, they're moving. They're moving different directions, like little animals. This one stopped. This one's going way out of the zone. So clearly this one is not participating properly. Where is this walk to position? 404, 15, 185. You wanted to walk over here, but that's not even close to where you were. Silly goblin. Okay, I think we need to have a gizmo or something. Draw line. Does on-scene GUI only work in editor scripts? Let's find out. I think it only works in editor scripts. So to draw a line, it's going to be debug draw line, I suppose. Debug.drawLine, is that right? Yes, draw line. We're going to do a start from the actor transform.position plus vector 3.up and to the desired or walk to position plus vector 3 dot up, and color is going to be color green, and duration will be 1. Just to get a sense. Only 30 seconds behind? That's not much at all. Oh, I need to add the world position. Do I? Did I not do that? Let's find out. This should help demonstrate. Oh, I need to do this on every single one. And I need to turn those off. I mentioned this earlier, but I forgot to. The zone, I respond point, the zone needs this too. The zone needs this. Okay. And we can close these for now. So this debug draw line not on handle yeah. Well, yeah, handle locomotion. Yeah, so this should happen every frame. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone, by the way. Don't forget you have a thumbs up and a subscribe. All right, so it's not happening every frame for some reason. Unsure why. It seems like handle locomotion is not being called every frame. Is it not being called every frame? It should be being called every frame. If current locomotion speed equals, oh, that's why. We should put these up there. So it happens only when it gets up to speed. So we're going to do handle look at, and then draw lines. So we'll just make 2 new ones. So private void handle look at is going to be that, and then private void draw lines is going to be just that. And we can add more to those later if needs be. The handle look at we'll definitely want to change so that it's a smooth look at rather than a instant look at. Oh yeah, look at that. These ones are going all the way. Well, I guess they're going to 0. So I should, if they're not, yeah, if they're idling, then I guess I don't really need to show that. So the gain states inside. This one got one outside though. So that's not right. This one too. And this one's freaking out. Oh, because this is the Y issue. I need to account for that. All right. On their handle locomotion, we will always say that desired or walk to position dot y is equal to actor.transform dot position dot y. That way it's always just keeps them on the same vertical spot. This would be different for a flying enemy, perhaps. So we'll have to do a different thing for flying. All right, so why are the... Hold on, let me pause it again. I would like to change this to be I really only want this to happen when they are actually moving. So what I'll do is, if current locomotion speed is greater than 0, then we'll do this. If they're not moving, then we won't show it at all. There we go. Oh, you know what I think might be happening? The rotation of the cube might not be taken into account. So if the center is here, or actually let's look at this rectangle. If the center is, you know, here in the rectangle, I'm doing X and Y, but if I'm not taking into account the rotation, then I could get a spot outside. So I think what that means is bounds. One of these said dot bounds. Local bounds is in local space. Center. Then we add those. So this is going to be the local position, and now we're going to need to make this world position. So just to confirm this, I should see a whole lot of incorrect, like I think they'll be really far off positions that they all want to walk to now. Yeah, okay, good. So now I think this is where, Merrick, your suggestion of adding the world position is correct. So this is our local position. Walk to position is going to be the random zone dot transform dot position plus new position. Let's see if that works. All right, that seems to work. Watch these little ants for a while. So we're going to need some object detection, obviously, because that's not, they're pushing each other around. Honestly, I have to decide as well if I want to do Yeah, I need a stopping distance too. If I want to do the nav mesh or not. Right now I'm not doing the nav mesh, and I think in the past I didn't do the nav mesh when I had this working in the past. I feel like the nav mesh doesn't work well for this purpose. Like it should. I feel like it should work well, but I feel like it doesn't work well. Know what I mean? So let's do a stopping distance. Okay, some text messages from friends. Or maybe, nope, they're just laughing at things. I don't want to get those notifications. It's nice that they laugh at my stuff, but, you know. So our stopping distance. So serialize field, whoops, private float stopping distance equals 1f. How close to the goal before we stop? And we can do some headers here too. Header walking. Header idle. Header required, or set up, I guess, in a way. And header required. Okay. So stopping distance. If we're within that distance of our goal, then we will stop. And so handle locomotion. Yeah, and check for stopping. If current locomotion speed is lessening or is equal to 0, then we'll return. So if we're not moving, we don't do this. But if you to do legend utilities dot distance distance between our actor transform dot position and our walk to position is less than or equal to stopping distance. Or how about this? If it's greater than stopping distance, we'll return. Otherwise, we will say reached destination. And then a private void reached destination. We will say set desired locomotion speed to idle speed, and we will say choose to idle I guess we can just say choose to idle here. And I'm going to add a new thing here called true in choose to idle. And then we're going to say bool force idle equals false. So if we are forcing idle or this, or if we are not forcing idle and we don't get it, then we'll return false. Otherwise, we're definitely going to idle. We're just basically saying, oh, we reach it, we're just going to hang out for a little bit. So reach destination, we can just say choose to idle. I don't think anything else really has to happen when we reach our destination. Let's see if that works. There they all go. See, so we definitely need collision detection, because if they do run into each other, we want them to go around. So this one didn't get to his destination, but his timer ran out, so he just decided to walk somewhere else. These ones chose to idle. So there's two things that can happen. One, his timer can run out, or when he gets there, he'll definitely choose to idle. And then this one, once they're done with that idle time, we'll choose a new spot. Or they'll continue to idle. Okay. And then we'll do an idle break now. We'll set that up. So private float idle break time required. We're going to say it needs at least 3 seconds. And so this is going to be, say, hey, if we choose to idle for 3 or more seconds, then we'll start with an idle break, or maybe we'll give it a chance to. So similar to this, idle break chance. So it has to have enough time, and this has to happen. And this can happen basically on choose to idle. I think as long as they're walking slowly enough, if we transition, then it's probably okay. But what we can do instead is we'll do this. We'll add another thing up here, and we'll say not serialized, private float or bool idle break. So choose to idle if our next decision next time equals cache that. So if next time is greater than or equal to idle break time required, and legend utility random from 1 is less than idle break chance, then we will say idle break equals true. And then on handle locomotion, we'll say do idle break, but idle break will only happen if, so if not idle break, then we'll return. And then if current locomotion speed is greater than 0, or does not equal idle speed, I guess, then we'll return. And then otherwise we would say do the idle break, but we'll set that to be false so we don't keep doing it. And then we will say animator.set trigger idle break, and idle break is going to be idle break, and it's going to be a string. So actually I'm going to copy this one instead. Idle break string, idle break and this we will add that to our trigger strings. Public string idle break equals idle break. All right. We'll see if this works. And we need our idle break is underscore with camel case. Not underscore, lowercase and camel case. So once this compiles on our go to, we will change this idle break to idle break and apply that. All right. All right, so one did it. This one did it. Object detection or collision detection. Really just looking for them to get to their spots. Collision detection required. Ah, this one shows to idle break. So this one. Good. So hopefully this is basically, you know, let's do a thing where we can speed up the timer game. Debug, do we have a debug section? Or test keys, was it? Action. Test keys. Yes, test keys. So in test keys, I'm going to do if input.getKey down keycode.l, we will say timescale plus equals 1 or 0.5, and if we do j, we'll subtract 0.5, and if we do k, we will set it to 1. So kind of can speed up and slow down, because what I want to see is just, do they look like they're moving around naturally? Oh, I think we just had a mini tiny earthquake. It was very small, but I think my chair shook. So if they pop up, now we hit, there we go. So time scale super fast. Let's just see how they go. They're walking around. Does it look like they're naturally just moving around their zone? Deciding to go here, deciding to go there, deciding to not move. I could increase the walk time so that they have more time to get to their desired destination. Let me do that. I think there's too much of them where they're just moving around and then they come back. Now at this faster speed, it looks different. Of course, it feels different, but I do think walk time minimum, maybe a minimum of 10 seconds and a maximum. Let's just do 30 seconds because when they get to their destination, they'll stop now. So let's try that. So that should allow them to separate more. And it is important. They are also going between the zones. So this is where I need to be careful because I'm not using the nav mesh. So I need to make sure that my zones are not in such a way where they well, look, they all bunched up. That's interesting. Does that make sense? If my zones are, on the other side of this trees and I don't want them to go through the trees, I would have to make sure that they go around the trees somehow. And with the nav mesh, that would happen. So I'll probably need to refactor this and decide whether to use the nav mesh or not. But it looks like they're going all in a direction, right? They're all staying within their zones. They're all moving about. They do seem to be bunching up here a lot. And like these three all chose to go down here. This one just went back and forth. So this is interesting. They seem to be going here and here a lot. Are they just choosing small spaces in the center? It looks like they're all just choosing very small, close to the center. That's what I'm noticing. All their destinations are right close to the center. So I don't think the extents are working. That's a good bit of thing to find. Bounds. Oops. So let's see, what is our extents? Extents. And that, and that. They should be fairly high because these zones are pretty big. And the extent, according to the documentation, was half the size of the zone, of the object. So for this one, it's that, but let's see. Extents is 0.5. Oh, interesting. So it's really scale that we need to... Okay, interesting. So the extents are 1. And so we need to multiply the extents by the scale, or local scale, I suppose. Okay. So we will say var extents equals that times random zone dot transform dot local scale. So this is almost always going to be 1. Can we not multiply 2 vector 3s? All right, so if we assume this is always 1, I'm going to make a note here. Note is always 1, vector 3.1, or should be. Because for these, the box collider is not going to be changed. It's only the scale of the object that would be changed, I guess. So therefore, we can say extents is just the local scale. And so instead of doing this, we can say random zone local scale.x and local scale.z. Okay. So let's try that. The center still works though. It's interesting. I spent all that time looking up bounds and stuff, but the reality is I already had the position and the rotation, or not the position in the scale. But I guess the bounds might still be needed. Well, we'll see. Yeah, so we still have the issue where it's going off because it might be getting speeded up. Yeah, okay, well, this is not even in a zone. Oh, I need to divide by 2. Maybe that has an impact, a role to play. Let's see. So far, so good. All right, that's a little bit off, but not the worst. I think I'm going to have to use a nav mesh. Damn it. I really don't like the nav mesh. I've never had good experiences with it. Like, it seems difficult to use for me and all that. But the reality is, if there's a tree in the way, I want them to go around the tree without me having to do a thing. If there's another character in the way, I want them to go around the character without having me having to do a thing. And the most important thing is the big bunches of trees, so that if I have spots all around or spots that aren't connected to each other, it will still figure out how to get there. But beyond that, if I speed this up, it does look like they're going in organic places inside the zone. And whoa, that's really fast. So if we see them here, oh, it looks like yeah, the zones are on because I've got them selected. But if I'm just looking at these goblins, certainly feels like they're moving around, right? In their area. All right, so it's about time for me to go eat some food, take a walk, get outside. It's 1 p.m. here. And so, oh, and I haven't had any of this water today. I poured a big glass of water and haven't had any of it. I need to drink more water. There we go. So I think the next step here, the next step is going to be to try to use the nav mesh, which is fine. I think I was using it before. I think the only time I wasn't using it was when they're really close to the player and they want to attack the player. But even then, I feel like when they wanted to move near the player, they were still using the nav mesh. Look, that guy's like floating in the air. How cool is that? Nav mesh agent will handle that as well. So I think that's going to be the next step. Try to get the nav mesh working. This concept is fine. I can use the same, find a new spot. That's just inappropriate, goblins. Stop that, what you're doing. This is a family-friendly live stream. This is I can use the same, finding a new destination with the nav mesh. That's not an issue. And it definitely feels like they're moving around fairly naturally. I can change the various numbers and such to make them move more often or less often, or farther distances or less distances and all that. So this will be fine. For flying things, I'll have to use a different method. So we'll have to make another version for flying things because they can go into the air. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and a subscribe. I'm glad you were able to make it today. I'm glad I was able to make it today. And I will see you later. Thanks.